Good afternoon, grazers. Today is the 24th of July, and I wanted to talk about something new that I'm doing different this year, and that is giving my cows baking soda, giving my cows some Redmond conditioner. That's a salt with conditioner in there that's got a clay in there, fine powder clay, and also giving them mineral water, which essentially is taking salt water, making salt water out of sea minerals. And so the way that I'm doing that is through using C90 down here, and I am adding it to this mix. So since the cows are getting ready to come down here, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this around. I will say I was very skeptical of the price on this to start with. And one of the things I've done is it's either a 300 or 3000 micron filter. And the recommendation is when making mineral water, or what I would call electrolyte water, for your cows, it's recommended that you use 2 ounces per head per day. I've got 86 animals here. You can do quick math. That's 160 divided by 16 ounces in a pound. It comes out to 10 pounds. I'm actually probably putting 12 pounds in here is what I'm doing. And so it doesn't take very long, and through that micron filter bag, water begins to go into the bag, and then the water then reaches equilibrium without pulling those minerals and salt out of that bag. Once the cows begin to drink the water, it naturally starts pulling salt and minerals out of that bag for them to drink. And by the time I come back tomorrow, that bag is completely empty, and the cows have gotten quite a bit of minerals at this point. So I did have an issue. I had a water line break yesterday, and so this morning probably, and the cows didn't get a chance to drink some water for part of the day. So when they come down here after they just filled up on grass, they'll probably be pretty thirsty, and they're going to suck this down. But cows are drinking a lot of water right now. I am on a well, and so they're anyway. So why mineral water? And in Steve Campbell's presentation about mineralizing cattle, I watched it several times. One of the things that was talked about was what the bioavailability of minerals was depending on how the cows consumed it. And so I don't know the research that is behind it, but I'll say it makes sense to me completely. So what he states in his presentation is that when cows consume mineral dry, as in out of the bag or out of a mineral, just dry mineral, 20% of that is bioavailable to them. So the way I understand that is that they can absorb 20% of that mineral. The rest of it ends up going out of the back of them back onto the land. When you give that to them in mineral water, such as what is done here, it's 50 to 60% bioavailable. And so they can consume less of it and have more of it absorbed into their body when you're doing it like this. So his recommendation for a baseline is for cows to get 5 ounces of sea salt per head per day, 3 ounces of Redmond conditioner per head per day, and 1 ounce of baking soda per head per day. And so that's the recommendation. If That's if you're giving it to the cows dry. If you're giving them the salt dry. If you're giving them the mineral water, such as what I just showed you here, the recommendation is 2 ounces per head per day. And then still 3 ounces of conditioner, 1 ounce of baking soda. If you happen to be in the middle of fly season and you find yourself in a wreck, flies are swarming the cows, you're getting a pink eye outbreak, you know, on and on, then the recommendation is to then increase the amount of baking soda that you're giving them. You will likely, for both of these scenarios, whether you're using doing it because you got a problem or doing it because you are just wanting to have more minerals in your cows, you will likely need to add an enticer. There's a lot of debate on different types of enticers, whether you use dry molasses, you use sugar, you use soybean meal, whatever the case may be. I have chose to use dry molasses, and you know, some of you guys are asking, well, what's the cost on all this? Because that's my big concern. I try to be as low input as possible, and for me, a 50-pound bag of baking soda cost around $18, and I'm using the all-natural soda out of Rifle, Colorado. I can get it here locally in southern Missouri. The 50-pound bag of dry molasses cost, I think it was $18 or $19 a bag. I don't remember which one, for 50-pound bags. The Redmond conditioner is, I think it was $15 or $16 a bag for a 50-pound bag of Redmond conditioner. The sea salt, the C90 mineral salt, is $10 for a 25-pound bag. So essentially it comes out to $20 for a 50-pound bag. Now, of all of those, the one that I'm feeding the most of right now, that I'm trying to feed the most of right now, is the sea salt, the C90. And a lot of reasons why is because I know that it's hot out here. It's 93 degrees. Heat index is pushing 100. And I know if I'm outside very long at all, I feel like I'm depleted of electrolytes, and I want to have some fresh electrolytes. And so essentially what I feel like, after looking at this bag, listening to his presentation, looking at the contents of any mineral water or electrolyte water, they're essentially the same. And so I feel like this is helping them this time of year to get more electrolytes into their body, more salt. They're gonna hopefully have better weight gains, and you know, get past this summer slump. So the next thing I'll show real quick is, I showed you guys the mineral that I'm using, how I'm putting it into this, and then the cows do have some flies on them. I'll show. You can see we have some horn flies on their back. You can see right there, horn flies on the back. There's a little bit of face flies, right? There's absolutely a little bit of face flies. What I'm trying to do to reduce the amount of face flies that I have on these cows is I am using my mineral tub that I drag around. And what I've done is, on this left side of the mineral tub here, I've got sea salt in here, some dry sea salt that I had before. And there's also some multi-mineral that I was feeding previously. The recommendation was to continue feeding your mineral program and see how much of it the cows consume compared to the mineral water. Because if they need more of the minerals you were still feeding them, they still have access to it. What I have noticed is, after feeding sea salt, they've essentially walked away from the loose, dry mineral that I was feeding them previously. On this right side over here, I've put some of that conditioner in here, but I've also got baking soda, and then you can see the dry molasses is the little flakes that are in there. And so, and then on the front of this, I have these bovine strips hanging down off the front, and I use a Powerade bottle, and I use permethrin, 10% permethrin, and canola oil as like a sticking agent to it. And so a couple times a week, I will dip those fly strips that's right here. Now that no cows are behind me, I'll come back over here. I'll dip these fly strips into that bottle, and so then any of the cows that are sticking their face into the jug or the barrel to consume either the baking soda or the mineral that's in there, they're going to rub their face past this, and it seems to significantly help with face fly control. And so I'll walk up through here, like I mentioned, hopefully nobody's hating on me too bad. This cow looks like she's about to pop there. She's one of my fall bred. And so you can see some of these, like I said, looking at the face there, there's not a ton of face flies. There's a few, right? And I just refilled this. It's been a while. Also talk what I'm doing here. So this is the neighbor's property. I mentioned it in the last video. And what I have is a lane down through here. And this is a good example of how rocky some of the ground is around here. I've got a lane down through here, and I'm running the cows in strips up through here. So this is a water lane, and I'm moving it down, or I'm moving the cows down through this field as I go. And so they're going to pug this section up really good. It's going to take a long recovery for this ground in here. I'll probably throw some seed down through here, but I know it'll come back. I've been doing this for a couple years now. And so I have this strip down through here. Apologize for the sun there. Try to get out of the way here. And so essentially I'm running strips off to the side from this water lane. So this water lane kind of divides this, I'm gonna say 15 acres here maybe, and this is where the cows are at. Where they were at yesterday was right over here. And so you can tell we've been grazing our way across. I'm gonna guess we've been getting 75% utilization on what's there. This is a mixed grass, fescue, orchard grass. There's been a lot of crabgrass further up, closer to the barn up there. And so obviously the cows are still staying in the shade, but watching their manure is pretty good, you know. And so this pasture here is in my opinion, fairly good shape as far as recovery goes. It's probably getting pretty close to where it's too tall. There's definitely going to be some fiber in here, which is one of the reasons I don't want to push them too hard, is that the fiber amounts could be too high and their manure would start stacking up. So, but in the baking soda, that also helps with rumen function. And so as we get up here, you can see, I know people think that sometimes black cows won't eat whenever it's hot outside, and I agree, they don't really want to, but here's a manure, you know, right there. Overall looks pretty good. This forage, some of this fescue that's in here is 24 to 30 inches long. As we walk down through here, you can see, you know, most of these are in pretty good shape as far as flies on the face go. And so by tomorrow, this over here will likely look like this over here. There's still some residue there. They didn't clean it up completely, but for the most part, they've reset this pasture that's there. So walk down here just a little bit further. You can see they've already come through here. I just moved them an hour ago, and they've already come through here, and they hit the best of what's here. And then as the day goes by, they're going to clean up, you know, more of this stuff. They're hitting all the the small, new regrowth, because I've already ran them through here once this year, and this is my second time bringing them through here. And so they're hitting any new growth first, then they'll come back and clean up the fescue and stuff as the day goes by. So overall, like I said, I feel like they're doing pretty good. And even though I ran out of water for a little while today, none of them were panicked. They wasn't standing around bellowing. And they've been up here for an hour after I've turned the water back on, and nobody's ran down there to drink water. So I hate it when that happens. It seems like once a year that'll happen to me, whether a breaker pops or a line busts or something. And so today was that day. It happened to be, one of the hottest days of the year so far. So, but now that I added some more baking soda back in there, the cows should kind of equalize back out. And the whole point is, without the right mineral program, without the cows getting everything they need, their bodies are going to be more in an acid state. And when the cows are in a more acidic state, they're more attractive to flies. And so when their bodies are in more of an alkaline state, because of the right mineral program, because of getting their rumen function right, then the flies are not nearly as attracted to them. And so here by tomorrow, when I come back out here, the amount of fly load that's on their back should be much less than it is right now, because I just added some more baking soda to their mix with some molasses. And so yeah, it's been working for me. I want to knock on wood and say that I have not had any pink eye this year at all. I honestly haven't really had pink eye in several years by doing this fly strip with the permethrin and canola oil. And even though I again do not like inputs, I do not like trying to add anything to the cows, but I know that one shot of Draxin or one shot of Zaprivo, if you have to treat pink eye, is going to cost you $20. And so I'm gonna here's one of these cows. You can tell they're getting everything they need. You can see how full her rumen is. I mean, that left side right there as she walks by is really, really full. And so, great to see, and as you're grazing, I move into a new section like this, it's different, that you have to, sometimes it takes a couple days to make sure you're measuring your grass right, to make sure they're getting everything they need. When I switch over to this other side, not been grazed yet this year, and you can tell there's seed heads in here. You can tell there's a mix of broom sedge and fescue, and there's plenty of weeds in there. So I'm going to have to decrease my utilization rate probably even more on this side over here, because of the fact that there's going to be significantly more fiber in those grasses than what this other side is that has been grazed once this year. This video turned out a little longer than what I wanted it to. I'm going to walk back down here, but I highly recommend searching in YouTube for Steve Campbell and mineralizing cattle. There's a video from that he did for a group in Canada, and it is really, really good and detailed. He talks about getting the toxins out of our cattle, and mineralizing our cattle, and then any excess mineral, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, any excess mineral that these cows get goes back out onto the ground, and then anything that goes back out onto the ground, if it's absorbed by the cows or absorbed by the grasses later. Well, when cows consume it, it's 90% bioavailable. So I don't feel like I'm wasting anything. I'm gonna spin this around real quick. This is my Faro Cattle Company bull that I have. He's been breeding cows for the last 45 days. No, it's right at, he's going right on 30 days of breeding so far. And so he's not falling apart. I don't see any loss in body condition on him. So I've been very happy with how he's done with this heat, and seeing him chasing and breeding cows. And so that cow right there looks a little warm, but anyway, I'm gonna this may be the longest video I've ever made. I will try to do another video with exactly the minerals or the exact baking soda, molasses, all that I'm utilizing, just so that way maybe you can find it locally if it's something that you're interested in trying out. So all right, that's it. I hope you guys are staying cooler than we are here in southern Missouri, but it's that time of year, you know, the summer slump is here, and so grazing can be a little bit more difficult, especially in fescue country with unadapted genetics. But hopefully you've got diverse pastures and you're staying cool. So that's it. See ya.